Been a string of corporate layoffs in recent weeks, and articles in Wall Street Journal about even white-collar workers. Stupidly, I'm wearing white collar. Steve Leisman is here, smart enough to wear blue collar. Is AI intelligence, is that to blame? Should investors be wary?
We did a joint research investigative story with this using Gabrielle Fonrouge, our retail reporter on .com, myself, Frank Holland, and we looked into this. 48,000 jobs at UPS, 14,000 at Amazon, 1,800 at Target. A slew of layoffs has raised fears that AI is already whacking corporate jobs, but not so fast. In some cases, companies could be involved in what we call AI washing, giving the impression that the new technology is already replacing jobs that are, in fact, being cut due to a downturn in the business, restructuring, or other reasons. Whatever its intentions, look at this. UPS said in its earnings calls, and I quote here directly, "We launched our Efficiency Reimagined initiatives to undertake the end-to-end process redesign effort, which will align our organizational processes to the network reconfiguration." Get that?
It's like gobbledygook.
My colleague Frank Holland found there was some AI-related job losses, but 34,000 were linked largely to closing buildings, right-sizing the staffing level, especially in the wake of the online shopping boom from the pandemic. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, he had to walk back the impression created by both the media and the company itself that recent corporate layoffs were linked to AI. He said, quote, "The layoffs were not really financially driven, and it's not even really AI-driven. Not right now. It's culture." Peter Capelli, a professor of management at the Wharton School, says there's little evidence so far that companies are even able to replace workers now at the kind of scale we're talking about.
Using AI and introducing it to save jobs turns out to be an enormously complicated and time-consuming exercise. I think there's still a perception that it's simple and easy and cheap to do, and it's really not.
So far, AI job losses look like mostly the low-skilled and entry-level jobs. Some companies have announced hiring freezes in anticipation of productivity gains from AI. Goldman Sachs surveying 100 of its investment bankers to see how AI is impacting their clients or hiring at their clients, and found that AI-related job losses could lead to workforce reductions of 4% over the next year and 11% over the next 3 years. That's potentially substantial and fast, though it doesn't account for new jobs could be created by the new technology. It also shows it's early days for AI to be responsible for mass layoffs, and that investors need to be wary of regular old job cuts wrapped in AI clothing.
You did point out that at the end that we don't know about job creation from this. There are, we're hoping, there's wishful thinking that it's like so many past disruptions where the new technology is either net the same or even better for employment. I don't know if that is too much to hope for. And then the other thing, every employment report that we used to get in the old days, it would be a net number that would include millions of both additions and losses, and that's sort of the
You're
same
absolutely
thing.
right. It's the churn is where the action is, right? It's 5 million hired and 5 million fired and 5.1 million hired, and that gives you job gains of 100,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about the U.S. economy is the dynamism, and actually it's one of the things that economists follow is that dynamism, and there's been a little less churn. People, locked into mortgages, we keep looking for that. Yeah. But now you have the work from home thing, Joe, which enables as well the idea that people you can get workers from different parts of the country that don't have to move to different places. There was people who were upset from Amazon who, when they did the return to office thing, they moved back and then they were fired after that. So that was a concern. But we just want to be careful. I think what there is there's so much hype and craze and excitement about this new technology. There's this idea that, it's happening now.
Well,
it's not happening now.
The idea that you pin everything on it, it must be this, it must be that.
Right.
We just had the small business, John Gibson
right.
from the small business, Paycheck Small Business Report, and they are seeing the highest level of hours worked, the highest level of increased hours worked weekly in a decade. And I asked, is that because they don't want to hire new people? He said, no, it's because they can't find anybody. It's a supply issue.
There's a whole other dynamic going on with immigration and deportation that's part of it. You have some decline in the labor force participation. What's going on with the workforce is a huge thing. I found it interesting, though, that he said that wages have not gone up, but hours have gone up. if that's the case, you can expect perhaps some increase in wages down the road, although he did say that was a big part of the inflation outlook. I listened to what he was saying. That's going to be an issue. And then you get to this point where, okay, is AI going to replace workers or complement workers? If you hear David Solomon talk, they're talking more about complementing workers. It does maybe create this hiring freeze. Entry-level jobs and call centers is another place. But right now, a job like Joe Kernan's, how could AI possibly replace?
No, it's impossible. It's impossible. You'd have to have some solid algorithms, even with max headroom. You can still buy a buggy whip.
Of course you can.
From Westfield Whip Manufacturing. It's an artisan maker that caters to what they call a very niche market.
And you can buy a cassette.
It's a very...
But you could buy a cassette tape and listen to AM radio too. But we moved on from those.
We were talking about bubbles and the like, and it's just something that occurred to me, and we heard Dara say, the trends in place with AI are very, very powerful. You go back to the internet, no way you could have anticipated how powerful that was. No way. None of us did. And you look at the market caps of all the stocks associated. No way. It's exponentially greater than our wildest dreams, and it could be the same with AI.